Hello, everybody. Welcome. This is Terrell from Terrell03.com. Today's Wednesday, it's June 17th, 2026. It's 2:02 p.m. Central Time here in the Ozarks. And let's see, this is the project. I talked to David yesterday, and he advised me to stop doing what I was doing and to wait and let him come because I electrocuted myself. And I think that's a wise decision. So I'm going to get some pictures when he's here over the weekend, and you're going to see that this panel is going to be moved over. So the bracket that's supporting it, this bracket on this side is going to be all the way to the end. This one's going to be moved back, and then one of these is going to be put in here. And then these are going to be moved down, move down, move down, and then there's going to be, when there's enough space, this one's going to go over here. Same thing up here, same thing over here. And I'm going to see if I can find room maybe to get two more on there. I have to go buy these are my, I have one more panel that'll give me four. That's all that I have. And then I'm thinking of getting two spanking brand new ones and up the capacity for the amount of support that I have, max it out, and then the days are going to be getting shorter and shorter going through the fall, and at some point I know that I'm going to have issues. Right now we had some cloud whenever it's cloudy, and I'm looking at the system and the output and everything. I'm going, this is not enough. So then some of these trees are going to have to come down too over here. That's where I'm at in my prepping for this project anyway. There are other projects that are going too. So I'm having to divide my time up. Brian, I'm sure you're going through the same thing. Gary's going through the same thing. And Dr. Deborah is going through the same thing. And we're tweaking and getting ready for the peanut butter to hit the fan. I know a lot of people believe that there's a plan, there's a deal. If you just search deal, everybody's talking about the deal. There's no deal. And this memo that they're passing back and forth, the markets are being calmed right now using lies, if you ask me. And it seems like everything's going to fall apart after Friday. Maybe they can keep the lies going for a little bit longer, but the wild card is Israel. And what they have on Trump, we're going to go through some of that. We're going through this report. Let me, let's see. Let's go question and answers. More on that as we proceed. Off-grid power. Now, if you subscribed, if you're one of the 41 people that subscribe to the Black Star Report newsletter, I mean the YouTube channel, then I subscribe to this channel for you. So if you go through and look at my subscriptions. And Eric wrote, watched my video, and you saw I'm showing you the solar panels and things like that. And he felt moved by the Lord God to share it with me, the gentleman on YouTube on this channel, the epitome of off-grid configuration and knowledge. That is something that I'm not. Please, I'm not trying to, for monetary reasons, only that the Lord directed me. He's taught me about off-grid power generation quicker than I could have imagined. And I work in industrial maintenance. So you have more of those types of skills. You're probably like David. He's an HVAC guy. And he installs systems and repairs inverters, communicated. So he says he has a rule, off-grid DC, no breakers. So I sent this, I sent everything you said here to David. He and his son will be here over the weekend helping me with my system. Sent it to Gary and sent it to Leo and Nikki. And as I know, Leo was talking about putting a system in too. And this guy here might be the cat's meow on how to, on little tips and tricks. I looked at some of the videos and it looked like really, really a lot of good stuff. You can tell this is a MacGyver, this guy here. and you're very welcome. We do our best. God does the rest. And so then I subscribe to both channels, both of my channels, Christian channel and Black Star Report YouTube channel. Subscribe over there. And then I wrote this to David and Nikki. I'm just saying I'm sending it to you. Please check it out when time permits. Robots now working in hospitals. Brian. So if you're following my reports, what do you think Brian is? He's positive or negative on robots in the hospitals? So the robots are being used in a lot of places. The links are below. And hospital in Odessa, Texas, now using robots. Short 2 minutes in length. One thing I noticed is how gullible people are to these things. Maybe it's just me being old, out of touch with reality. Yeah. And so I watched some of the video and I concur with the nurse in here. Thank you for writing. Working with robots and AI is part of the new reality, brother. It's just part of the new reality. These are tools. That's the important thing to realize. The robots, AI, all this stuff is another tool. There are dangers with tools. You can hurt your utility knife. As a mason, I work with a utility knife every day of my life. It had its own little holster. I'm better than the average bearer park ranger using knives, trowel type things from being a mason. So you develop skills from tools, right? And my father was a carpenter. He taught me carpenter trade from the time I was a boy. I was using hammers and saws and things like that. And I was probably more careful than a lot of people because my father he sawed one of his with a power saw. He cut his index finger off on his left hand, and it's from the time he did it when he was like 20 or something. The whole time he didn't have that finger. It was a reminder to be careful. And later in life, he cut off all of his fingers on his left hand because as he got older, he couldn't hear well. He had his table saw going, and without realizing the saw was even going because he was losing his hearing, he was kind of old. He said his leaned over on to reach something, and the saw was going. My dad was accident prone. He fell off his yacht in dry dock and hurt. He fell off a 12-foot ladder. He and my brother Buddy, extremely accident prone, both of them. I could talk to you for half an hour on stuff that they did. The my my brother Buddy, I was like 6, and the bull out in the field. We lived on a farm, and the bull. Don't go messing with the bull. Leave him alone. He won't mess with you. But you get in the same area with him, and he will chase you. And he chased my brother, and he had to jump through the barbed wire fence, and he cut all the way across his back. One of them barbs got a hold of him. Accident prone. I remember I was the biggest. I was the oldest, and all my brothers and some of the neighbor kids. After we moved into the neighborhood, that was when I was about 11. They were they were sitting on my feet, and I was kicking them up in the air. Did it to my brother Bud. He went up, came down, fell on his arm, broke it clean between his elbow and his wrist. When he was smaller, my dad was working on a vehicle, and he had poured gas into a 7-Up bottle, to prime it as he was working on it. My brother Buddy comes along. He must have been, I don't know, about 3, 4. He just picks it up and starts guzzling it. They had to take him to the hospital. My brother Buddy, first play of preseason, because we all played football, we all played baseball. First play in preseason, and we're all good. He was taking a kickoff return. He caught the ball, goes running, gets piled on, fell on the football, right on the point of the ball, pushed into his stomach, ruptured his spleen. Could have died right there on the field. The doctor said you could easily be dead if your spleen was full of blood. You'd be dead right now. It just happened to be empty when it happened. Got hit in the chest with a softball in a game that he wasn't even supposed to be playing in. My brother Buddy hit him right in the chest, stopped his heart. The people coming in the ambulance Took them. It took them 23 minutes to get there because they went to the wrong place. They finally got there. The third baseman was a CPR, was a paramedic. Jim, third baseman, paramedic. The only reason my brother was alive. He kept sitting up and laying back down, falling back down, sitting up because Jim kept giving him CPR. And he was dead for more than an hour. The emergency room guy was our doctor, Dr. Epstein, and he wouldn't let my brother die because he kept setting up and falling back down, but his heart wouldn't go. So he cut him open and well, it's kind of gross, don't want to tell you. Massage his heart manually, and finally he got it to start up again. My brother and my dad was like that too. My dad broke both of his arms. One of them, he was playing around with a girl in a tree house, and she pushed him out, and he hung his arm in a slop bucket. You don't know what a slop bucket is? You know what a slop bucket is? Back in the old times, that's the hog guy came around and took everybody's leftovers. They put it in a slop bucket. They were, everybody had one hanging on a tree, and I can't remember how he broke his other arm, but I'm not kidding you. I could sit here for an hour and tell you about what's happened to my brother and my dad, both of them accident prone as they can be. So they're tools. Get used to it. Some people are using their AI and the robots and things like that and getting ahead of their. You're living in a capitalist system within a capitalist framework where competition, you must compete. It, People that are using AI and using these tools are going to run ahead of everybody else. They're the ones that are going to stay employed. They're the ones that refuse to do it are the ones that are going to be left behind and they're going to be in the unemployment line. I'm just saying that now Mike Adams takes it to the extreme, and I'm not saying to use it or not use it or anything. You decide for yourself. I use AI, somewhat. You haven't seen any AI in any of my work, but I do use it to brainstorm and things like that. And I ask it what time it is, and I want to know the population of a country or something. And there people are going to give the argument. Turn on your computer, go look for it yourself because I'm going to get lazy and my brain's going to go dead. I'm going, no, stop. I'll just be relaxing in the evening and something's happening and I want to know something right then. You can't look it up on the television, right? So I just pause it and ask AI. AI tells me. I go, oh, look at that. It leads me to another question. Oh, look at that. And then lights start coming on. So I think it's a good thing. And like with anything else, with a wheelchair or crutch or anything that you're using to rehabilitate yourself, you can overuse any of that and become weak and pathetic and keel over dead. Or you can use it to get yourself back on track and make yourself stronger so that you until you're running again. So it's try not to get into the trap of avoiding all new technology because there's a threat involved. There's a threat involved every time you leave the house. So what are you going to do? Cage yourself up in the house and not go anywhere? Oh, somebody might run over me. No. So there are opportunities that are out there, and with the new technology, I feel like that I lost some years because I refused to get a smartphone till coming back to Arkansas in March 2020. Before that, I refused to have one, and I think that I got behind in some things. Still to this day, I need help. Kat has to help me to do some things. She's a whiz on. She's had a smartphone for a long time, so she's a whiz on that stuff. And so in some ways, I'm like you, Brian, and I'm kind of old, and when we were growing up, we didn't have anything that's like this, right? So we're having to make more adjustments in those that little kids are born or now they get a cell phone when they're little and they are real smart on them. Iran and Israel have unredacted Epstein files. Okay, global intelligence community has all the Epstein files. and files from their many operatives and assets running their honey trap blackmail operations since at least the 1970s. Most people who is anyone is on the list. That's how the lettered agencies stay viable. They blackmail is the name of the game. Everybody exposing the truth is another nuclear option, leading to mutually assured destruction and global meltdown. That's why nobody plays the card. The Putin has the information on Trump. Trump has the information on Putin and Xi, and they all get. It's a giant club created by the global intelligence community and the global military industrial complex. They're intertwined, and they're working with the global. They're looking for the global bankster cartel. They have every incentive to do so because they all want to go to the underground arc cities. So the banksters are the ones that have the underground arc cities, and they have recruited through the Council on Foreign Relations, their working groups, everything and everybody that's anything. They've decided who's going to be saved from the Black Star, from the destruction, and who's not. And it's a group. Everything you see happening in the news media, all the narratives, everything is under one umbrella, Project Black Star. People just don't realize it yet. It's all connected. And it's the global banks cartel. Super AI, an underground Arc City program, is running futuristic simulations to protect the global underground Arc City program. That's their lifeboat. They're going to emerge from that into their New World Order. The New World Order begins when the Black Star leaves. Now, if you can gather that much and then look at the world, some of the smoke screens will just fall away. You'll realize that this is all connected. It'll help you to see what's going to happen. Because you can, when I'm looking at the headlines and I'm looking at the media and the narratives and the stories and the way things are changing, I'm seeing the puppeteers, the global base cartel. It's not about what Netanyahu is controlling Trump. He's not. It's not about Trump is controlling Netanyahu. It's not. That's the little fist fight they have on the stage to keep you occupied, so you think those are the main players. They're not. They're being manipulated. They both have strings. My goal here is to help you to see the puppeteers and not to be duped by this deal thing. There's no deal. The MOU is not in any time. It is the first of 10 stages. And it's being sold as a deal to calm the markets. Everybody's being lied to. There's no way the global bankster cartel has dragged us this far with the 9/11 inside job, with the killing of JFK, with the killing of Abraham Lincoln. I mean, this has been going on for hundreds of years. And now the Black Star is almost here, and you think that they're going to all of a sudden start changing directions? No, this is all their plan is rolling out right in front of us with Ukraine and Putin. Zelensky and Putin are not the ones in charge. It's the global banksters. They are weakening, using Ukraine as a proxy for BRICS to weaken the West. So that the United States, how many billions and billions and billions and all the weaponry have we sent over there for a war that should have been over in 3 days? That's their part of their plan. And then now the Middle East and Iran. Stupid, stupid idea. Everybody knows you can't attack Iran. You cannot conquer Iran. Nobody can conquer Iran. It's impossible. That's the perfect country. Just look at it. Just the physically with the mountain ranges and everything and they've been preparing since Desert Storm, and they saw what happened in Iraq. They've been moving everything underground bases, so that you can't get to them. They've been getting ready for this somewhere between 20 and 30 years for this war that's happening right now. And you you think that the global base cartel is just going to let this opportunity just go away? No, the West has to be weakened. The United States has to crumble and go down. The United States is the bastion of peace and safety for the world. It has been all this time. Bretton Woods and the deal with Saudi Arabia, that's now a deal between Saudi Arabia and China for the next 50 years. The United States has to be taken down. And they're going to use Iran to do it. The United States has already lost the war. Everybody just hasn't figured that out yet. But how are we going to get from point A, the United States being global dollar hegemony and global military hegemony, to the United States being in ashes? Mad Max. How are you going to navigate that? That's what you're seeing right now. They cut off fertilizer. They cut off the oil. This is what's happening in slow motion right in front of us. People don't realize the big oil crisis that's coming. Oil prices are being pushed down right now because the market thinks everything's going to be fine, and it's not. So the global Trump is part of the files. You're seeing these people. They say they're going to bring in people to exonerate Trump. Oh, he never did anything. He never did this. Yeah, they came in the 1990s, or they came in the 1980s. Trump was suckered in by Epstein to become a tool of the global banks cartel in the 70s, before any of those other people came along. Maxwell and all. She came along later. She can't exonerate Trump, saying, "Oh, he never did anything," as if she would be around to see everything that happened everywhere. Though there's, I can't see Trump. Trump's not going to let the truth come out because he's in the files, and it's not Israel that he has to worry about, or China, or Russia, or Putin, or Xi, or releasing the truth about what's really. It's not them that he has to worry about at all. It's the global bankster cartel. That's the people that knocked off Kennedy. That's the people that knocked their fathers killed Abraham Lincoln. They're the ones that killed Gaddafi and Saddam Hussein. It was the banksters. That's who Trump has to serve. That's who's going to expose him if he gets out of line. But rather than expose him, why expose John F. Kennedy as part of the global honey trap operation? Why expose him? Just kill him. Saddam Hussein, just kill him. Gaddafi, just kill him. That's what would happen to Trump. Trump has to play ball. He's their guy. He's going to do whatever he's told. Trump probably doesn't even know what he's going to do tomorrow until he gets the memo. Okay, I've investigated the explosion of ticks. What I found is horrifying. You'll want to try to get a hold of this guy and tell him about nanosilver, which I did. Ticks are spreading like wildfire, so bad people are afraid to go outside. Was it just yesterday or the day before? Recently, in one of my reports, I said the pestilence card is going to be played. They're just starting. People are going to be afraid to go outside their houses. I'm not kidding you. From the ticks, from the mosquitoes, from the pestilence card being played, they're just starting. People are going to be afraid to go outside. There is an explosion of tick-borne diseases like nothing that we've ever seen, and it's impossible, almost impossible, to avoid being bit. Lyme disease, alpha-gal syndrome are running rampant, and they are becoming so prevalent that more than 500,000 people are diagnosed every year. One bite is all it takes, and your entire life is flipped upside down. The worst part, there's no cure. Yes, there is a cure. So I'll show you, I'll let you listen to the beginning of them. The link is in the top of the newsletter among those links. As soon as you get your hands on the newsletter, just click on it. I'll show them to you. So I said, Amen, sister, I've been saying that the pestilence will become so bad that people are going to fear going outside. And they're not even getting started yet. So I wrote this comment from the Christian account, the Christian YouTube. I live in the Ozarks, and ticks with zero concerns about Lyme disease, tick fevers, etc. being on the nanosilver regimen. Identify threats, create contingencies, execute. I shared the link. Everybody, you guys should be on the regimen. If you're not, then God bless you, you're braver than me. If I was up here in the Ozarks without being on the nanosilver, then I would be scared to go outside from having Lyme disease before. And it is horrible, 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 horrible. It's not as bad with everybody. I had a severe case of it. And coming back to the Ozarks was not I mean, at some point I would have likely had to. But being on the nano silver regimen changed everything. I mean, I was like hopping and skipping and jumping to come back, knowing that the bacteria cannot replicate inside my body on the nano silver. And I'm on the regimen, stay on the regimen. I pulled a couple of ticks off me and not concerned at all. Pull them off, hit it with 500 parts per million, keep on slugging, man. And all you have to do is have your order in by 8 a.m. Central Time on Friday. The how-to, go to tarot03.com, how-to buttons right there at the top. Click, it'll take you to the page. Find yourself. You don't have to be a subscriber. When it first started, you had to be a newsletter subscriber. Now you don't. You just pay for your own shipping. Orders in the special. Instead of 4 bottles, you get 5. So instead of getting $660 worth of nano silver for $100 and I pay for the shipping, now you get $880. It's likely $1,000 worth. Everybody else's prices are going up. And the monster box, 42 instead of 36. That's a lot of free nano silver. Your deliveries, order right in here and you get your tracking number Friday afternoon. You get your notification within 24 hours. That most of them go out between 6 and 8 in the morning. That's what happens if you order overnight, and then you get your tracking number right here before the end of the day on Friday, and then deliveries show up on Monday and Tuesday. Almost everybody's been getting their expected delivery date for everybody here recently has been on Monday. Okay, so I told you so moment. I told you this is going to happen. If there's anything else before I start the report? Can't think of anything else. Nope. Okay. If you remember from last week, there was only one 7 magnitude earthquake for week 12. So we're approaching the black star. I said, okay, there's one. Now let's see what happens next week. Because this is the week that we pass between the two stars every cycle. So seismic event indicators say Earth is moving through the first Earth change uptick period for the 2025. You see anything wrong with this? This has to be changed. We came into the alignment. I'm reporting on week 13, but actually we are beyond the alignment now, so we're going through the lull period. I'll fix this. Oh, wait a minute, moving through the first Earth change lull period. I did fix it. For the 2026 Earth orbit cycle, relative to the black star position between the Sun and the Scorpio constellation. So let me show you where we are in the solar system. Scorpio is right there. The black star is just about in the center of Scorpio, just below the ecliptic plane. So it's just about right there. It's just about right here. That's where it is relative to Scorpio. This is where it is in the solar system. We just passed it. Now we're moving in this direction. We're going to be moving away from the black star. That means the magnetic portal connection is going to get longer and longer as we're racing away. We should see seismic values dipping in the chart and fewer new volcanic eruptions. And we should see the number of harmonic tremors increase now because the pressure, internal pressure inside the Earth is decreasing. So that number should increase. That's the pattern that was noticed years ago. And that's what I'm expecting to happen now. And I can kind of get a feel as to see the Earth it's like a pot that's with a lid on it, and the steam reaching its maximum, internal pressure at its highest, and then we pass the black star and that starts lowering just a little bit. So by looking at the number of deep harmonic tremors, the number of new volcanic eruptions, the Earth is testifying. The Earth and I have this relationship now after doing this investigation since January of 2011. So I can feel when it's heating up and feel when it's cooling down, and whenever the seismic values are within the baseline parameters and whenever they are outside, and when the wheels coming off and something's bad's about to happen and things like that. So those are the things. So I'm going to show you the values and then what's supposed to happen. And then if we're outside or within the baselines. So this is where we are in the solar system. Mercury is trying to catch us. Venus is trying to catch us too. Mars is on the other side. And the rest of the planets, here's Jupiter. It's behind us. Well, it's over to the right of us over here from this perspective. Okay, and quickly, everywhere on the chart, see this gold line right here? Everywhere on the chart, here and here, you can't see the gold line here because of the purple line that Ryan put on here. Yeah, you can see it right here. So that gold line is a line in the chart. This is the near side, N on the chart. This is the back side, B on the chart. O's outside orbital position for those that are new to the investigation. So what the chart you're about to see is going to have all golden lines, week 13. So 52 weeks in a year, right? 52 weeks in a year. And divide that by 4 and you get 13. So when we start here in March, then 13 weeks go by. That's when we should cross between the sun and the black star. That's the way it works. When the investigation first started, we had sometimes we had 54 weeks in a black star year because the black stars are moving left in the orbit diagram like this. And before it was moving 11 days. So whenever we would come between the black star and the Earth, we would go all the way around, and it took us 11 extra days to catch it because it was moving so fast. Then, about 2016-17, it slowed down to 6 degrees. And so we caught it in 6 days. And now we're catching it in, well, it was 3 days, and now we're even catching it in fewer days than that. So the black star is slowing inbound orbital velocity as it's getting closer to the sun because of the magnetic repulsion relationship, like putting two magnets together the wrong way. You've got the two magnets, you hold them up each other, they stick together, right? Turn one of them the other way. Magnetic repulsion. And it's powerful. You have two big magnets and you put them together the wrong way, you're going to realize it's a lot of force. It's the cube of the closing distance in force. It's different than gravity. So an object that comes toward the sun is pulled in faster by the square of the closing distance. That's how much the force increases. With magnets, it is the cube of the closing distance. And when you turn that power around, then you get a powerful repulsion. Now that has to do with regular dipole magnets. When you get a monopole magnet, which is theoretical, nobody's ever seen one, but then you get a different phenomenon. You get a situation where the attraction force by gravity and the repulsion force by magnetism equalize. They're both by the square of the closing distance. So that's what's going on with the sun and the black star. So it took years to be able to figure that out, and most even astronomers have difficulty. The astronomers that I work with, Don, for most years, that whenever we were starting off, I had already worked with other astronomers, and by the time he came along, he took his observatory class telescope out of mothballs just for this project. And we worked together for years, and we realized you can't see it. With a ground base, you just can't see it, period. So that's why we have to use the Earth changes to be able to tell where it's at. So that's a little background, a little extra background on the black star. This is where we just were on June the 8th. It was predicted for the 9th. It came a little bit early. The realization, the thing I've been learning as the years go by is that the speed bump that we hit here is not gravitational, it's electromagnetic. And the earthquakes are striking earlier because of nearing black star proximity. So look at these magnetic portal connections like electric wires. There's one from the sun to the black star, there's one from the black star to the earth, and there's one from the earth to the sun. So this one here connects and disconnects about every 8 minutes because of the 93 million mile distance and because of the speed of light. So when the sun comes from the light comes from the sun, it takes about 8 minutes to get here. And that's the same amount of time that the magnetic portal connection disconnects and reconnects. And just about every 8 minutes, all the time, disconnects and reconnects. So with the black star, it's different. When we're right next to it, because see, these disconnections and connections happen based on proximity. So when we're close to the black star, it connects and disconnects very rapidly. Whenever we're further away from the black star, then it connects and disconnects after longer periods, longer durations. The further we get away, the longer this magnetic portal connection stays connected and then disconnects and reconnects. So right now, it's if you look at it kind of like a spark plug, and if you ever worked on an engine and you've taken the spark plug out of one of the cylinders, then you can turn the engine around and you can see it spark. You can do it with your lawnmower. You pull on it, see it go like that. Okay, so when we're really close, this magnetic portal connection is really fast. Connect, disconnect, connect, disconnect. As we're getting further away, then it starts slowing down a little bit. So when we're really close to it, we're getting really highly charged. There's also the next layer to understand is that these magnetic portal connections are like umbilical cords, and they're like giant pipes that have other pipes inside. Those are conduits, passive and active. Those the ones that actually carry subatomic particles, tons of them per second. Then they're internal, and the insulation ones, the ones on the outside, the passive conduits, they don't conduct anything. They're like vacuum tubes. Those are the ones that provide insulation. Otherwise, these things would be like live wires, and they would be just crossing. Imagine the wires in your house didn't have any insulation; they would be arcing all the time. Well, that arcing happens whenever these magnetic portal connections get close together. The force on the inside overpowers the insulation, particularly whenever we are nearest to the black star, like in this situation right here. So that's what causes the formation of highly charged ionic clouds. That portal cross firing is what it is. It's a phenomenon that was only discovered, as far as I can tell by my research, after 2012. In March 12th, 13th, 2012, highly charged ionic clouds turned our magnetosphere around, and it took some deductive reasoning and a lot of prayer and thinking and looking around to realize this was what caused it. The arcing in between, the loss of insulation properties of the magnetic portal connection is what caused it. And that affects our magnetosphere. When you get energy coming this direction, subatomic particle flows faster than the solar wind, it turns our magnetosphere around. The bow shock will be on the wrong side. The Department of Homeland Security and NASA and the Jet Propulsion Laboratory all realized that's a sign that there's something else in our solar system, and we need to protect that data. Those keyframes are taken out of the ISWA data, taken out of the database entirely. And whenever I wrote the Department of Homeland Security and asked them why, they said because the keyframes are unfit for public dissemination. They're saying we're living in a 2012 Deep Impact movie, and we don't want the public to know, basically. And the energy coming into our Earth is charging this guy up. So this is a relatively new thing in the Department of Arizona. The professor there that's over the entire program. The Department of Arizona is the right place to go because their geology department and their astrophysics department are married together. That's not true of every university. So the professor there over both, he was the guy to consult, and the Japanese sent him the data. That's where this article came from, 2016 data. Dr. what's his name? Garno, something like that. And the mysterious part of the whole story is what he said. He said, my first question is, what is it? The professor over the geology department at the University of Arizona wants to know what it is it? So you're thinking, well, this is the blob connected to the core. This is not the blob connected to the core. That story's been going on. This is in the Earth mantle transition zone, and it's not supposed to be there. And then how did it form? Two questions that he asked whenever he was submitted the data. What is it? How did it form? Back-to-back questions. And that's And I'm like, if he doesn't know, holy cow! I started sharing the information with other geologists around the world. They don't talk about it. That's kind of disturbing when you're living in a 2012 deep impact movie. Something's coming from space, and you contact the global scientists about it, and nobody wants to talk about it. Like the club, like they're in a giant club. So this thing now has filled the entire Earth mantle transition zone. These horn formations have pushed up into the rocky type magma, and the super El Nino that's coming is because of this plume. That's what's causing it. It's not people. It's not driving your cars. So this is the super plume 5 years ago. Now it's filled the entire zone. So my research, going through doing this every single week, tracking the earthquakes and changes, then I realized there's a pattern of these 5 magna earthquakes striking at the 10-kilometer depth. Those are the ones that the supercomputer could not uh, tell the exact depth, and he didn't know the trigger. It's the horn formations that's the trigger, and the super plume itself, its presence is not programmed into the NASA supercomputer, so it doesn't know what's causing this. The supercomputer doesn't know. It's ignorant because the data isn't programmed into it. It's got quakes striking out here in the middle of nowhere, and it's going, I don't know, 10-kilometer depths. Keep on going to the next one. These are all the mantle plume connections that are now connected to the super plume, causing it to grow out of control in the Earth mantle transition zone. Rock, glass. So you have all this rock up here, and you have all this metal in here, in this little zone right here, 410 to 660 kilometers glass. It's silica based. And this super plume is silica based, but this, you see how it's darker? See the doctor, I should look up his name, is Garno. He makes the statement that this is compositionally different than everything else in the transition zone. And the difference is metal, magnetite. So when you get the big booms in this zone, you get the expansion, and then you get the release of the magnetite. So inside the super plume is metal. That growth of the super plume and the arms, the buoyancy barrier corridors, pushing into the Atlantic Ocean, that's what caused the magnetic North Pole migration, because the magnetic North Pole is moving in response to the changing magnetic center of our planet. You know, I know that's a lot to take in 2 sentences, but these suspicious observers and the geologists, they don't see the super plume, and they think the magnetic North Pole migration is caused by, well, a 600-year-old model trying to interpret the evidence of something that they don't begin to understand either. And I write to them and say, hey, there's a super plume, it's filled with metal, that's what's causing it. And I may as well be wailing at the wailing wall, because they don't want to talk about it either. So this is where I'm located and not leaving. And if you're over here, there's no safe zones. And if you're over here, there's no safe zones. And in the Ozarks, the southern region of the Ozarks, that's the best place in the Ozarks, because this is going to be, when this explodes, then you're going to get pyroclastic flows that's going to wipe this out. And then you're going to have dust and ash that's going to settle. This could be 20, 30 feet buried in silica type magma. Well, silica type dust, ash, dust, those are glass shards, microscopic glass shards. Imagine baby powder, but it's glass shards. Imagine what happens when you breathe that in. Then the fluid in your lungs recrystallizes those glass shards. That you get a lining in a few breaths. You get a lining of glass in your lungs. It coats it, recrystallizes, and then begins breaking with each breath. So that's how the dinosaurs died. That's what killed them. And that's why I'm in the Ozarks, because it's not just being out of the way of this, it's having the ability to get underground if you need to. And that's what's in the Ozarks caverns. That's why Navy intelligence people, the John Moore people, that's why they're in here in the Ozarks. People that are awake and aware. They have the resources. So, oh, I've done the math. I've actually even for the near side and the backside alignment, this date is known and this date is known. I just haven't uploaded it yet. Hold on a second. Let me go grab it for you. Okay, it was in the folder, and the website's going to be updated here at some point. So the December 11th, 2026 is the date of the backside alignment, and I think that's going to be right on. It could possibly come on the 10th. If you notice, I've been missing by a day, and it's been early. So I'm looking for the speed bump. The gravitational speed bump is not a gravitational speed bump, it's electromagnetic. And as the black star gets closer, the arcing of that lightning bolt, if you want to look at it that way, happens sooner. It increased. You get two high power wires. You're holding one in your left hand and one in your right hand. Strip off some of the insulation and increase the voltage. And as you're bringing them together, because my investigation is trying to guesstimate on whenever the arc is going to happen, when it's going to go from one to the other. So increase the voltage because the black star is getting closer. Strip off a little more of the insulation because the passive conduits are becoming, they're being compressed. So it's thinning, thinning, thinning. That means that the arc is going to happen sooner, and it's impossible. You notice there's no minutes and seconds on this anymore. It's impossible. So once you learn enough about something, then sometimes you learn that what you're trying to do with the math is impossible. It's knowing when the arc is going to strike. There's too many variables in that equation to know exactly when. So now it's just the day. This is the day, and I'm just saying it could strike a day early. But December the 11th, 2026 is when it's supposed to happen. Then, did I do that? Look what I did. This is supposed to be, it's a good thing I didn't upload it. You see the mistake? June 10th, 2027. I have to change the 6 to a 7 here. So that's where we are in the cycle. You have the dates for whenever we're supposed to come to the alignments. And we'll see. See, I told you. There was only one 7 magnitude earthquake for week 12. Now for week 13, this is when we cross that line, the week. If you go back to 2014, this is in March and early April. You notice the dates are getting later and later and later because the black star is moving left in the orbit diagram. And sure enough, the projected date here was the 9th, and it struck a little bit early on the 8th. That was actually the Cuba quake, because the 7.6 Philippine quake also struck on the black star sun center line, and just a hair early than being on the black star sun center line. Just a little bit. I mean, it was just a few minutes early. But both of them are near side alignment quakes. This would be the predicted quake, this one here. So this is a week 13 event. Remember, it was projected. This is a week 13 event. It just struck before the Cuba quake. So it was a situation like on the backside, we have dual backside alignment quakes. Both of those, it was Alaska, and then it was 7.6 Philippines. Struck on the backside alignment. Both of them, now it seems to be more consistent that they are striking on the black star sun center line. So you see this quake right here. 2015 didn't have a near side alignment quake until now, to 2015. 2025, because I went back and looked up this quake, it also struck on the black star sun center line. So this is the only year now, from what I can see, all of these struck on the black star sun center line. These are all near side alignment quakes. Some of them are not 7 magnitude. But when I saw the 6 strike here, and I go, wait a minute, it's on the black star sun center line. I went to last year and I looked to go, guess what? They're not all of them are 7 magnitude earthquakes. Some of them are 6s. And it could be that there's a 5 magnitude earthquake in here, a 5.9. Maybe I'll go and look and see. So that's a lot of big quakes striking on the week 13. And a new, see the 5 magnitude number? The high water mark for the first decade of this investigation was 58. This is a 57 was the second highest. That's whenever we had the chili quake, the 8-pointer. And it was difficult to tell which one of these because you had 4 7 magnitude earthquakes. The earth crust was much more rigid back then. We came into alignment with the black star and kaboom, kaboom. Big, big. See, we had 6 and 7 sixes was common back then. And to have 5, then see the numbers go down. Now we're back up to 5 and we had 6 this time. 62 of the 5 magnitude earthquakes. Last cycle we just had 19. We've been as low as 15. 487. So we had 336 and 338, and we managed to beat that with all this activity. 487, but the high water mark still 705 from 2020. So I'd say for this cycle, week 13, this was a pretty impressive near side alignment quake. Numbers for subscribers, hope you'll subscribe. It's still just $25 a year to get all the newsletters for the year and a lot of other things in the Dropbox folder. Hope you'll support me. This is the tick link right here. Screw worms. I'm going to show you a little bit of that. Screw worms kill 80% of the deer in Texas. What's next? Screw worm deal. I told you it's going to get bad. We haven't seen anything yet, but it is becoming a problem. So there's a video, and whenever I'll let you listen to a little bit of it, and he's going to send you to another video. This is why stray cats and rats are disappearing from America's largest landfill. That's outside of Los Angeles. The rats and the cats disappearing. You know why? Because of the coyotes and environmental communications. They didn't say that, but in the past, doing my research, I had to understand more about why deer behave certain ways, when they come under stress, why they start birthing so much sooner. Environmental communications. It's the reason that for a lot of things in the evolution of man, that his brain grew very rapidly to double in size very quickly because of one thing, because of the tool maker. There was of the primitive men, then one of the men could make tools better than the rest of them. And the hunters, because they had to go out and hunt and kill and drag it home, right? They said, well, the tool maker was usually not the biggest, strongest guy among them. He'd be kind of the more petite guy, right? So they said, look, Mr. Toolmaker, you stay here and we're going to go kill the animals and you make our spear tips and because you're really good at it and you're better at it than us. But we're better at killing than you. And so we don't want you to get hurt taking down the mastodon or something, right? So they left him at home with the women. And whenever they did that, then the men started worrying about what the toolmaker was doing at home with their women. And that causes brain to really grow quick over the generations, right? Environmental communications is the deal. And it explains the deer, it explains our children. As our children come under more stress and more stress, it's not just the hormones in McDonald's out of the hamburgers. As our children are stressed more and more, they develop quicker because it's under, when you do the research, under environmental communications. And that's what's happening out there around that, the rats and the cats. It's not just because the coyotes are eating all the rats and the cats. Not just because you think about it, the coyote eating the cats means there should be more rats, right? It's an environmental communications response because they are under stress because of the coyotes. They move. They relocate. The ones that aren't eaten move, and the ones that stay continue to get eaten by the remaining cats. The coyotes kill like 80% of the cats. So some of them are smart. The smarter ones hang around. They're able to hang around longer. Anyway, really good video. And I'll put it up here because I was learning a little something from it. I'm putting this report together. You can't just sit and listen to war 24/7. You have to kind of balance it out a little bit. These are some of the things. The screwworm deal is becoming very serious. And then the safest way to store gasoline. So some of these links, 9 habits. Oh, the habits that kill your e-bike. My e-bike is still sitting there. Cat's not real happy about it. I'm not mentioning it. But there's so many other things to do. It's sitting in the middle of the living room right now, not far from where I'm sitting. But I have time. Have to have time and go through the videos and go breaking the brakes and do some other things to get that thing ready. Okay, so this is the way that the near side Lambda quakes look in the chart for 2026 orbit cycle. 62. There's 60 of the back in week 3. 60 of the 5 magnitude earthquakes. I'm sorry. 6. See if we can go back and see if there's a 6 in here. Oh, there's a 10 right here. 10 and 11. That was back in July 2025. Red values. So 6 is the high water mark for quite some time though. Now 6 is a lot. 62 and 487. 448 right here. It's difficult to reach 500. But we almost did it right here. Red values. Red values. Remember whenever it was all blue values, because that blue values are the oddest ones in the chart. That's 50 events below the 10-year average. And then the green ones are everything 299 and below. But that was par for the course for a long time. Now it's red, man. Just 3, 1, 2, 3, and quite some time. More numbers for subscribers to help you see the patterns, what's going on. The near side of the Earth, the busy side, Pacific Ocean Ring of Fire. It's where the super plume, right here is where the super plume began, right here, because of these deep harmonic tremors. And then it grew, grew, grew. 2018 is when it hit this mantle plume connection right here and changed everything. It wasn't long after that, it was just a giant inflating and hitting more of the mantle plume connections, Cobb connection here, Hawaii here, Galapagos down here, hitting all the connections and then inflating, inflating, and just growing out of control. That's when we're in the end game. And when you start seeing Antarctica, notice you don't see signs of the continental bulge now. We're past the peak of the increase in pressure. You can still see a little bit of sign. Oh, this 6.6 wasn't there earlier. You still see a little bit of the bulge from South America. In my report, it says that that it's gone. Last week it was diminishing, and now with the 6.6 and I may have to revise that because you can still see a signature here of the bulge. You do not see it for Africa. So if this pattern continues like the 6.6, if we see more of these sprouting up like flowers, and you see this move to Africa and surround Africa, that's not good news for the world. As we're moving away from the black star, that pattern that I've been showing you for the last 3 months, it's like a heartbeat pattern. It goes boof, Antarctica, then it goes poof, like you're seeing right now. Last week, you could still see Antarctica really well. And I'm thinking, well, okay, that's diminished. But now you can see poof. And if that continues, that's not good. That means that we passed beyond the threshold and the heartbeats from the southern hemisphere to the north are going to continue. And I don't think that's going to be the case. That hasn't been the case yet on any orbit cycle. It always diminishes. But at some point, the black star is going to be here, and we don't know what that's like. The previous orbit cycles aren't going to be evidence for what happens when the black star is here. So I have an idea, and it means more 6.6 is where we had 5-pointers, and pushing further north in the northern hemisphere. At some point, Iceland's going to reactivate. It hasn't done it yet. And we're going to see the Azores, and we're going to see evacuations out of Italy. That's what I expect to see, and out of the Caribbean. And whenever we see, we may be seeing evacuations out of the Azores when the Earth gets tipped over because the from black star near proximity. So there's a pattern of these sixes. See it up here in China and the swarm. Let's just make everything else go away for a second. And am I missing any of the sixes? No. Okay. That six that just popped off on this side of the planet, and this one out of the origination is on the one along corridor 3 here, out to the mid-Atlantic ridge. So that's in any given week without black star influence, without super plume influence, then you have 2 to 3 sixes average every week of the year. That's just natural pressure being relieved. You have between 20 and 35s, 5 magnitude earthquakes every week. That's normal. That's the baseline. And then 7 magnitude earthquakes, you have 18 to 20. It's 18.26 actually for a year, and it's between 18 and 20 for every 365 days. That's normal pressure relief that's happening according to those numbers. And so I want to show you what's going on right here. This is the actual quake swarm area. And that's really that's that one at 8 kilometers deep right there. That's not really in the quake swarm area. It's a little north of it. It's closer to the trench that's down here. Called it 1, but we didn't have any last week. And it was not that long ago when we were getting 7 to 10 quakes, 2.5 magnitude and greater out of this quake swarm area. It's actually a little south of that position. 7 to 10 per day. So that when I was doing those reports, I had to make the earth small and tip it over just so you can see the top of it. That was regular every week for a long time. Last 2 weeks, we've only had 1. This is the only quake out of anywhere near this quake swarm area in the last 2 weeks now. So the quake swarm area, so this happened before because this quake swarm area 12 years ago, 15 years ago, was closer to here, and it's migrated to where it is now, over here. Just before it begins its move, then it dissipates. Just like it is right now, it's dissipating. 2 weeks, 1 quake out of it's dissipating. And you can see this quake swarm area is forming out here. I do not expect this is the position where it's going to relocate to. So you get one that comes here, and you get one that comes up out here, and then they come and they go. Give it about 2 weeks from start to finish. Where this quake swarm area is going to move to, I believe, is over here. And it could be even down here, but I'm thinking based on history about this region that's right here. And so we'll see if that happens. And I expect this one's going to come and go. Another one's going to form to the west of that location. It's going to come and go. And then activity is going to return here, or it's going to begin shifting more. All of a sudden you get 2 or 3 or 5 that strike in a week out here in this different location, just like this kind of. They're going to average. The reason that you know this 40, see the 17, that's not it. What comes out of this quake swarm area historically coming out of here is average of 13 kilometers. There'll be 12, there'll be 14, there'll be 15, there'll be 11, average 13. That's a fact. So that's the pattern that I'm looking for this transition, and that's going to tell me that volcanism is moving toward the Caribbean chain. These that average 40 kilometers out here, notice how they're getting shallower now. Whoops. These for years have averaged 40. These for years average 140. Well, these out here at 140 are shallowed up. The 140 ones they've disappeared. 107 now is the deep one. These average 40. Well, you see they're shallowing up too. Whenever these get synchronized together and they're averaging 30 is whenever the problem's going to come, because that's the reservoir depth. You're below 40 or below reservoir depth average for the world is 30, 33. So whenever you get this depth right here, it's 40, 40. See the 47, see the 40. These other ones are something else. The ones that strike here every week like clockwork are the 40 ones. And this 62 one, that's a deep, for this region, that's deep. So whenever these synchronize together, you have shallow and deeper, right? Whenever they shallow up and you see them all at 30, that's when there's going to be the problem. Then I would expect this quakeswarm area to migrate to that area, and we'll see if it stays around 13 or if something different happens. So I'm watching, and then more activity down in the Caribbean chain. That's what I expect to see for the future. So this, I didn't label a deep quake, strange quake for this report. Got myself in kind of a hurry. If I did, it'd be this one right here. Quarter 3, it's underneath Italy at 217. I'm sorry, 219 right here. That's you get one at 400 kilometers every now and then. Down in the very top, 209, down at the top of the transition zone. You get these intermediate ones at 200, which you get right here. See the 221? It's like a sister quake to this one. See the depths? This is the Nepal quakestorm area. 221s are normal that strike here. It is not normal for them to strike here. You'd only get half a dozen to a dozen of these a year. There's one that's there right now. Then this is in China, and there's something that's happening there. This is almost the 6.3 struck there. These look like aftershocks going with it, but they're because of the colors. See, the location tells you something, and the colors tell you something. So you have you notice how they're all pink. This all happened about the same time, and it all happened about 2-3 days ago. So this is if I was by myself and doing the research on it right now, I click on the 6.3 and say when, and then look at the magnitudes and look at the befores and afters. See if the 6.3 struck first, and then these are all afters, or are there some pre-shocks in there? So there's something that's happening right here. This is almost the same location as the 7.1. It was May 21st, 2021, if memory is serving me. And almost the same location that's right there. So 6 is striking down here, energy coming down here, boom. And the pressures are decreasing, which means the tectonic plates are falling back together on one another. And seeing this is a precursor quake. We could see activity moving down quarter 3 that's right here. So keep your eyes on, where would it be? Turkey, likely on its way to Italy. So we'll see if that kind of thing if that's what's happening. That's an old pattern that I've seen before, and we'll see if it happens again. It could be a huge quake strike right at this location, but it seems like it's going to be further west. And still near the alignment, and we're still here in June, so increased higher than average activity. You can see by all the seismic values, the world has more than average number of activity, and not on this side. Nothing along quarter 4. Nothing. Not even one quake there. So the way more than average activity on the Pacific Ocean Ring of Fire side right there. And in the United States, and we have a quakestorm area right here that is not normal. That's just north of the toe formation of the foot formation of the North American Craton. And looking at the depths, see if these are magma upwelling, then they go 5, 6, 7, 8 kilometers, generally not deeper. So when you see the 10s, if they're all 10s, computer don't know. And when it shows 11s, then 9s and 11s, that's the computer, that's taking the closest 5 stations and averaging them. The computer knows. So if you see all 10s, you could just kind of roll your eyes and say, oh, the computer doesn't understand the trigger. And it can't decide between the 5 nearest stations. But when you see 8s, 9s, 10s, 11s, then there's something that's going on here at that depth. And it's along the edges of the North American Craton right here, where all the averages should be 5, 6, 7, and 8. And like these. See them? But this is getting deeper than that. So it seems like there's something else that's happening right there. It's just north of. So you get toe formation, the foot formation, the North American craton comes down and goes up, and it's just north of that foot over on that side right there. And it's not just upwelling magma, or they would all be below, they would all be around average 6 to 8. So something else is happening there. And what do we have? An aftershock of Cuba. They're at 19 kilometers. And pretty busy. Lots and lots of activity this week. Fives. I'd like to stop for a second and look at fives to see if there's a pattern of them coming up. So if they're red down here and white here, that means the pattern's moving toward up this way. That's not what's happening at the moment. It hasn't been a 5 that struck the Americas now. And just looking at the colors in about 5 days since since not long after the alignment. Okay, so that's a look at the Earth. See the backside? Nothing, hardly. Activity slowing. 2 quakes at Sandwich Islands. There were none last week. Not much to write home about on that side. Hundreds of tremors are striking underneath Iceland, but not a breach yet. You saw that one was a 4-pointer that struck right underneath Iceland. 3 is the number of new volcanic eruption events, just like last week. So we're in 3 land. 3s and 3s and 4s. These are on the dip on the downside right now. Keep an eye to see when we get back into the 7 and 8ville. Everybody with the resources, you've been warned to relocate away from the coasts, away from the highly populated areas. Societal support mechanisms are coming under increased attack. Food, water shortages, power outages expected to intensify moving forward. Survivalist preppers should be exploring every avenue for transferring resources from out of fiat paper into survival-related commodities, including your silver and your nanosilver. Everybody's advised to join a strong survival group to increase the chances of survival for everybody that's involved. God bless you, and thank you guys that are supporting me. You're an extreme minority. The number of supporters dwindles every week, and if you're hanging on to the end, then you're one of the few. I greatly appreciate you guys. So the tick thing is going to become more and more of a problem as we move further this summer. I'm just saying, if I wasn't on the regimen, I would be scared, knowing it's not just Lyme disease. It only takes one bite. Get on the regimen, stay on the regimen, because the bacteria cannot replicate inside your body in the presence of the nanosilver. That's it. You see what the guy said? And there's no cure. Half the people that contract Lyme disease live with it the rest of their lives. They go through antibiotic treatment, and they just can't kill it. Get on it, stay on the regimen. If you know anybody that contracts tick fever, that's what they call it here, because there's 4 different kinds that spread through the Ozarks. And if you know anybody that has it, make sure that you share the information, at least give them the opportunity to get the education. When you get your nanosilver from me, you get 6 attachments and you get an education. And you get my books. My 9/11 book is attached. And the EPUB version of the Mystery Explained, and that's the Kindle version, and the PDF version, the extended version, for free. It's all attached in there, and you get the education. You get videos, how-to videos, how to use your nanosilver in your inhaler, all kinds of information that's like that. So make sure that you guys are stocked up on your nanosilver, and if you know anybody, then at least give them the opportunity to get the education. Just send them the how-to link and download this newsletter and send them a copy, then send them a link to this video. Because being on having Lyme disease and being to the doctor so many times and not being able to cure it is debilitating. It just wears you out. And you're walking around in a cloud, it's like you have the flu all the time. You have no energy, and it's tick fever. It's Lyme disease. It's a slow kill, soft kill biological weapon. That's what it is. And just getting on the regimen is what they need to get on to to stop the replication inside their body. Okay, out of all the articles, this is the one that wound up being the exiled Iranian crown prince slams U.S. Iran deal doomed to fail. Doomed to fail. It's absolutely doomed to fail. I see absolutely zero chance of it. So all the people are being carried away by the deal. It's the deal. We have a deal. I'm seeing past tense. Now that we have the deal, the old crisis is over. Uh, you're being duped. A survivalist prepares for the worst case scenario and hopes for the best. The worst case scenario is you go down to the auto parts store and there's no oil on the shelf. So get the oil, get it, get enough for a couple of oil changes. The uh, the United States will be able to, with the oil that we produce, the fracking oil, the lightweight oil, to make gasoline. We are going to run out of the heavy stuff to make diesel and to make motor oil. And there are already shortages. They're showing up in Canada right now. But they say, from the people I'm listening to, after 4th of July is whenever we're going to see it dramatically. And you don't want to show up and you go into Walmart or wherever you go, and there's no oil on the shelf. There's no oil filter, and there's no oil. It's not just the fact that we're going to run out of oil. It's that it's going to be in the news, man, big time. Everybody's going to run out and get oil, like the toilet paper thing. It's just in the news. Toilet paper. Everybody runs out to get the toilet. It's going to happen with the oil, and musical chairs game with the oil. And the music's going to stop, and you're not going to have any. So make sure you get some. That's what I did. I went out and got a lot of it. It's on the shelf right now. Oil that my truck doesn't even use. 10W30 is very common. And just flat, straight 30 weight oil is going to be worth a lot when nobody has any oil. You're going to be able to barter it for a lot. People are going to absolutely have to have it. And oil lube for a chainsaw. Things like that. Things you won't even think of. A lot of related articles. Leaked versions of the Iran MOU appear to confirm Tehran got everything it wanted. Trump is dealing with no hand. He's in a game with no hand. He has 2, 3, 5, 7, and 9, and Iran has all wild cards. Trump doesn't have a hand. There's no military solution to what he's trying to do. The world is angry at Israel, and the world is angry at Trump and the United States. Americans are angry at Israel, and the United States is mad at Trump too. MAGA's turning on him. It's getting ugly. Trump is having to do whatever he's told by the global bankster cartel. It's not like he can sit and say, well, and put his finger in the wind and say, well, the wind's blowing this way. I need to do this. That he doesn't have that option. Or he'll wind up like JFK. He's going to do whatever the banksters say. That's what I'm saying. Watch the puppeteers. They're the ones that are going to bring down the U.S. They're going to bring Mad Max here and martial law, no matter what anybody says. That's their plan. When you know that's their end game, then you plan and prepare accordingly. And then you're not tripped up by what you're seeing in the media. Despite the MOU, the IRGC is launching nightly drone attacks on the ships of Hormuz, not against the friendly ships, against the bad guys. They're bad guys. So if you're paying in yuan and you're paying your toll, you go right on through. If you're not playing the game, especially if you're allied with Israel, if you're allied with the United States. So I keep hearing that, Syria is going to take care of Hezbollah. No country on God's earth is going to help Israel to defeat Hezbollah. Just think it through. Nobody's going to do that, because then you're going to come under the target of Iran, who wants all that in Lebanon to stop. That would be the stupidest thing you could ever do. Why would you do that? I expect to see the United Arab Emirates do an about face in their marriage with Israel. They have to for their own survival. They're going to realize the United States can't protect us, Iran can't protect us. Those that can protect us are the Iranians and the Russians and the Chinese and BRICS. It's just going to take. Remember, I've been saying that for quite some time now. The NATO alliance, the NATO-like alliance with the Arabs in the Middle East, OPEC, and all those guys have to join Iran in a new alliance and provide security. And who's going to be the big Navy fleet that's going to protect them? China. It's going to be BRICS. It's going to be a BRICS deal. So one at a time, they have to decide who's going to be first and who's going to tell the United States that they got to leave. That's what is happening behind the scenes, and that's Saudi Arabia, all of them. Get your stuff. You have to go now. So we're in this interim period where Trump still thinks he has clout. Trump's going to say, "Well, I'm about to get to it, right down here." The White House allowing Russian oil sanctions. I'm just my hand on my forehead, like, you don't have any clout, dude. He's trying to have some. He doesn't have any. Remember that Trump was trying to, Bissett was trying to sanction the banks in China. What did Xi say? What did China say? They said, don't worry about what he says. That's the same thing that you're going to hear from Putin. You're going to hear from all of them. Don't worry about what Trump says. Nobody's listening to Trump anymore because we're a paper tiger. We're being exposed as not being the military and dollar hegemony anymore. It's just happening in slow motion. If you can see how this plays out like I do, then you're out of the dollar and into silver, and you're getting your oil and your diesel, and you're getting everything, because life here in the United States is about to change dramatically. In 2 months, I say the United States is a whole different place. You say, yeah, but the MOU, man, it's over. Okay, you just keep believing that. Do you think everything's going back to normal? I say it's going to be Mad Max in 2 months. And we'll see maybe it's not going to be completely Mad Max yet, but we'll see who's closer to being right. So I don't see us going back to normal ever. Why? Not because Trump and the deal and Iran, Putin and Xi. It's because of the banksters. The global banks cartel is bringing us down. They're doing it on purpose. You keep seeing these stories about Taiwan and China. Taiwan is going to jump in the lap of China and want to be their best pal. Watch and see, because they're going to realize the Americans can't protect them anymore. United Arab Emirates is going to figure that out. Saudi Arabia is figuring out quicker than anybody in the Middle East, looks like. That's the big transition is happening. U.S. global dollar and military hegemony is evaporating right in front of our eyes. Iranian oil tankers begin exiting the U.S. blockade. The Iranian tankers are. U.S. Commits to rehabilitation of Islamic regime with at least 300 billion. And then the next story says Vance rejects $300 billion. It's going back and forth. You get one story one place, one story from the other. Now, the first gift to Iran is already underway. In other words, they're going to lift sanctions. And for me, I don't recognize the United States right or ability to sanction anybody anymore ever about anything, because we've been lied to all this time. And we're not the military might and power that we claim to be. We're just not. U.S. lawmakers in the dark on Iran deal, as Trump says he will send it to Congress. And I heard commentary. Who was it? It's not coming to me. Trump's a big bragger. He loves to brag. If it was a great deal, you'd be hearing about it, and he would not shut up about it. He wouldn't be hiding the details of it, because the Iranians are getting what they want. And Trump had it about face. I heard that on the Young Turks. And I've been checking out more and more. And Trump had a big change 2 to 3 weeks ago. And they were asking the question, what made the big change? What the big change? And the big change was that he went and talked with Xi and Putin. And he realized they sat him down and told him, look, dude. And then he came back home and realized that the world wasn't put together the way that he thought. In the United States and in the EU's been using Ukraine as a proxy against Russia, and they're doing the same thing. BRICS is using using Iran against the West right now. And Trump, he got an epiphany moment. And he realized, holy cow, holy cow. It's not just Iran they're fighting, it's BRICS. It's Russia and China. You're beating your head up against a wall and you're going to bust your head wide open and you better stop. So Trump had an about face. The thing is, he has to turn around and look at the global bankster cartel. But Xi and Putin are doing the same thing. They're all working for the global banksters in any case. And at some point, Trump is going to be exposed for working for the global banksters. It's the haves against the have-nots. The banksters are the haves, their team, the global military industrial complex, and the global intelligence community, these world leaders, Putin, Xi, Trump, Zelensky, all of them against you and me. It's just the world isn't supposed to figure that out yet. The CIA intelligence reportedly suggests Iran will seeks nuclear weapons despite Trump's deal. Absolutely. That's the comment that I made to somebody at Substack. They're talking about Iran, nuclear weapons, this and that. And I asked him, I said, do you have to know how to build a gun to have one? I mean, that's just simple logic. I don't know how to build any gun. Do you? Do I have to know how to build one? Do I have to know how to make the trigger and make? No. You go and buy one from somebody that does know how to make one. And North Korea has them. Pakistan has them. Pakistan says, no, we're going to help you have peace. We're going to help you have peace. But it turns out the United States and Israel and everybody just won't play with them. They won't have peace. So what's Pakistan going to do? They have nukes. Just think it through. China does. Russia does. BRICS has plenty of nukes. And I believe I think they've already had nukes myself. But because they're Ayatollah, the one that they murdered, they were never ever going to use them and nobody needed to even know. But the Iranians are, the average IQ of an Iranian is way ahead of the United States. They're up there close to the Chinese. They're smart. They saw what's happening in their area and they know North Korea isn't being attacked because they have nukes. The smartest thing you could do is to have nukes. It's just they're not saying it yet. I think that's the reality. He says, oh, Trump, he's so back and forth, makes your head spin. Deal not final. Trump, deal not final. We can go back to dropping bombs on their heads. Trump not happy how Israel fought Hezbollah. Israel's not going to stop. Just keep saying that. One of the top planks of understanding is that the war has to stop. Israel has to stop bombing their neighbors, particularly Lebanon, and that's not going to stop. So, just like with Trump, with Putin and Zelensky, there's not enough ground for them to even come together to have a talk. The parties have to be closer together to have an MOU. They have to have trust. Things have to progress along to at least have trust. So you can have a memorandum of understanding. Non-binding, absolutely non-binding, but at least we agree on this much. That says, okay, then we can take it to this next step. We're not even going to make it past. Even if they sign the MOU, it's not worth the paper it's printed on. If there's no trust, and there is none, and there's never going to be, in my view, and it's because of the Americans. If I'm looking at a story and there's conflicting stories, and I go back and I do the research, it's the Iranians are the ones that are doing what they say they're going to do, and the ones that are the trustworthy party. The Americans are the ones that lie and will murder you while you're negotiating. I hate to say it, but that's just reality. U.S.-Iran gains G7 support. U.S.-Iran deal. See, deal. It's not a deal. Stop using the term deal. Think Obama and think the deal. When they had a deal, when you could put it in the newspaper that they had the deal, it was signed, it was deal. And then look at the steps that it took. Go back in time when it started. so that they got to the deal. It was 2 years. And these parties here, and he had negotiators, real negotiators, that were really looking for a solution. Trump doesn't even have one person in his entire administration that's looking for a solution. Whenever he gets somebody, he fires them. If they disagree with him, they're gone. There's nobody left. And so I don't see any deal, not even in the future. But here, U.S.-Iran deal gains G7 support and calls for Hezbollah disarmament. Holding my hand. Hezbollah cannot be disarmed. Hamas cannot be disarmed because you're not going to disarm Israel. Lebanon ceasefire is a joke, right? That's the headlines. These are for people that don't actually, they're lamestream victims of lamestream media, and they believe that stuff what they're told. Trump holds press conference about G7, expected to discuss the deal. There is no deal. Not even close to a deal. That's propaganda being used to manipulate the markets. The Iranian regime continues to kill their own people. And you know what? That's probably the truth. Because within the Iranian regime are Israelis, there's Mossad, there's United States, CIA, there's people that are there to cause dissension, disruption, to try to destroy Iran from within. And those people, whenever they get caught, there ain't no three hots in a cot for them. There's not supposed to be. If you're engaged in that type of activity, you're risking your life every time you take a breath in that country, right? It's a dangerous game. The spy game, when you're sent in to destabilize and destroy a country from the inside, and they catch you, then you're supposed to continue killing them. I'm sorry, but that's just reality. The CIA, that's what they do for a living. They move in, then they take the local people, they make them promises, or we're going to move your whole family to the United States. We're going to tell them all kinds of things to get them to go against their own country, create spies out of the people that are over there. So in your kingdom, and you had a foreign entity coming into your kingdom and corrupting your people to turn against you and to kill you, what would you do with them? Think it through. That's what the Iranians should do, in my opinion. White House allows Russian oil sanctions waiver to expire for the third time. And this is a joke to me. Paper tiger, paper tiger. What gives you the right to tell any country on God's or green earth who can and can't buy oil from? Why? Because they're not one of your billionaire buddies? Because they're not your pal? They're not on your friends list? No, the United States doesn't have that authority to be able to do that. If the world grants them that authority, it's like the prison yard. If the other prison yards are willing to pay this bully for their protection, then okay, that's the law of the jungle. But if they're not, and if the bully turns out to be a paper tiger, then they're probably not going to get a lot of payments, a lot of cigarettes or whatever they're, you know what I mean, moving forward. So I see the United States on a decline and paying their cigarette money to China and BRICS. Vance, he's showing up everywhere. You're not seeing a lot from Rubio. You notice? Where's Rubio at? You see in Vance. And Trump literally reported Jeffrey Epstein to the police. When did you do that? Bet you it was in the 1970s. So at some point, you have to play good cop, bad cop. I'm talking about if you're an operative on the inside and you have to prove yourself that you're not a bad guy, then you have to turn on Jeffrey Epstein. But kings and queens consult Jeffrey Epstein. Royal family members pay Jeffrey Epstein. $25 million, was it? Just to hook them up with the right attorney to get it to get out of what they were in, because Jeffrey Epstein is connected, used by the lettered agencies, the global intelligence community, by Mossad, by German intelligence, by MI6, Chinese intelligence. It's all a big giant group of people that have been blackmailed to join the group. And this is just Jeffrey Epstein is just one of likely hundreds of Jeffrey Epsteins that are out there working for the global intelligence community. They want to make it all about Epstein and about girls and this and thing so they can simplify the narrative to use that so you don't see the big picture. That's what they're doing. Scientists concerned latest gene editing of human embryos could open the floodgates. We're getting close to the end, guys. Not the end of the age. The end. The black star is going to come and terraform the planet, and then we're going to start over. This is reminding me of the days of Noah. Actually, it was a different world back then. Giants and her seed was corrupted, and all kinds of crazy things happening. And it was time just to wipe the slate clean. We're getting to that point now. So seeing these images, seeing these things here, kind of give me that feel. CRISPR technology and that stuff. The AI threat sci-fi predicted is right on our doorstep. Like I keep saying, AI is a tool. Robots are a tool, and they are a threat. It's a handgun or a hammer or anything. A knife, a sword can be used to kill, or it can be used to create. A pen can be used to create, or it can be used to kill. Just a fountain pen, much less AI and robots and such. But you remember the three rules? A robot may not injure an individual or humanity. A robot must obey the orders of the human being, and a robot must protect its own existence so long as it doesn't conflict with one of these. So we're on the slippery slope now. You can't go back. It's impossible. Because if you overregulate AI and robotics and all in the different fields related technologies in the United States, BRICS and China are going to way outrun you. It's too late now. We're beyond the point of no return. People around the world see a winner on AI, and it's not the United States. Brian, I'm thinking about you. You can't use AI. It's of the devil. Can't ask AI what time it is. You need to get up, go out, and look at the clock yourself, because you're going to get lazy. So you guys know my views by now. It's a tool. I'm using the tool. I'm not fully using the tool like some other people that I know, but some of the people I know are using the tool and they're getting way, way ahead. They're making more trips to have more seminars to help more people. And that gives you more resources to prepare and to help more people. Or you can sit at home and say, nope, I'm not going to use AI, and then you don't have the resources to do anything. So it's a double-edged sword there, brother. It cuts both ways. New Oregon initiative could criminalize hunting, fishing, and farming. Okay, so I say, listen to this video while reading this article because there's something definitely wrong. Just listen to the video and read this article. Because this is about how I'm proud to be an American. Because at least I know I'm free. Yeah, are you? You're supposed to be, but you're not. When you have elected officials that want to make it illegal for you to go out and hunt the game and to catch the fish and to farm, you got to be kidding me, right? Not in America. Motor oil supply outages start to appear in Canada. And this is going online. It was $55. Oh, it's $40. No, it's out of stock. You're going to see that more and more. You're going to see that with silver online too. There's a lull, it's manipulation that's happening right now. Even the oil prices are being pushed down, down, manipulated down, down, down. And people are being put to sleep by it. And then all of a sudden, boom, oil shock. That's what's going to happen yesterday, giving Iran permanent Okay, get you through these links. Oh, this is did you let's listen to this guy for a second. I'll turn up just a little bit. It might blow you away if I turn too high.
Is getting completely out of control. I sat in this very chair, in this very spot, just last week, and I was actually recording a video. And during that time, which I was sitting here probably about an hour, I pulled over 50 ticks off of me. And you know, the common idea is that ticks are opportunistic. You walk by and like you brush against a blade of grass or something like that, and they kind of brush off onto your skin. That's how they get on you. I sat in this chair and didn't move. And these ticks were seeking me out. I don't know where they were coming from. I guess they were coming from just the environment around me. But the fact that I was sitting right here and over 50
You
ticks.
keep on watching. He and his buddy, they went fishing, and they went to a pond to go fishing, and he had to stop fishing and get out of his clothes, and he pulled 100 ticks off of him. There's something that's going on out there. I've been warning you about it. Maybe it hasn't got to where you're at yet, but if you're run out of your city because of Mad Max and you're run for your life, they're making sure that you run into their pestilence. It's out there right now, multiplying and multiplying, and you're gonna want to be on the regimen. It's not just ticks; they're mosquitoes. They're weaponizing everything against you and me. Attack vectors are intensifying. Do you understand what that means? Attack vectors. That's arrows that are pointing at you, an increasing number every passing day. Robot nurses begin working. Yeah, and I agree with her that this guy right here, see, he goes up and down. He has certain things that he does. The thing that was like remarkable to me is that certain chemicals and medicines and things like that have to be transported securely from place to place. This guy has a cabinet inside of him with a lock and key. They put it inside, and then he's programmed to go to the third floor or to this room or whatever. And he goes there, and then the doctor or the nurse has the key. Nobody else has the key all along the way to open it. She does. So nobody's going to steal the stuff. I thought that was pretty cool. And then they can be programmed to do all kinds of different things. At some point, I could see my pressure sheet technology, something like this, actually doing the procedures without the need of a human being by remote control. And the robot you can carry with you. You open up a suitcase, boom, it pops open, tripod. And my old system, you hooked up to, you were linked to your doctor on a joystick. Today, you don't need the doctor. You just need AI. You can carry it with you. Now, I should probably try to repatent that again because I look around every now and then to see if anybody's taken my idea that I've given away. It's on the internet. Just Google it. Tarot and pressure sheet technology. It's out there. usmessageboard.com. It's out there. Pictures. I show the suitcase and the pressure sheets and everything. You think somebody would just take it and use it? I tried to give it to the Chinese. They wanted me to come to China, and I'm like, I'm not coming to China. And they stopped communications with me. But even the Chinese, they steal everything. And I was giving it to them. So I just want to help people. I want somebody to be helped by it. And if they start using it, somebody else will use it. And I've got dated, 2009. I invented it in 1990s. I patented it before 3 times and never followed through on it. And so I could show that I invented it. If somebody, I'm the only person that has any experience with it. I was the guinea pig. All of my kidney stones were removed in a single procedure using pressure sheet technology. That's why my body was making kidney stones every 10 months. It was terrible. And Dr. Shibley and I had my own lab. I was president, CEO of Press Medical Corporation in Pinellas Park, Florida. And we were going to take it to Abu Dhabi, a ward full of patients. And the guy that owned the masonry company that I work for, his name was James Paul. His brother's Roy Paul, two of the richest guys in Florida, two of the top 10 richest guys in Florida. He was financing me, and all of a sudden he changed his mind, and he put me out after I was worked on in the lab. I was in pain from operating on myself, and I mean I didn't have kidney stones anymore, but he had 350 employees, very successful masonry company, and he sent his men to my office and emptied the place, dumped everything on the floor, and I was dependent on him as my financier. He told me to get my tools. He put me back out as a mason. After I was working in the office, I was wearing a suit every day and going to. He put me back on the job. He didn't put me on a brick job, even though I was one of the fastest bricklayers they had. He didn't put me on a block job, the 8-inch block that weigh about 30 pounds. He deliberately put me on a 12-inch block job. They weigh more than 50 pounds, 60 pounds. And not only that, he put me on a 12-inch block job that had steel that you had to lift each block over your head. Every block had to go over your head, over the steel, and back down again. He did that to me on purpose. And it was terrible. But I had to do it to have a paycheck. Back then, he was my financial guy. So the Lord God has got something in store for him whenever we get to where we're going. This is one of my experiences. But on pressure sheet technology, now with AI, you could carry it in the future. Then people, they carry it on their back, in the center of their back, in a backpack. And the suit that they wear has tubes in it, and the probe goes down those tubes. It's filled with fluid. It's environmentally controlled. It's really cool. And if you get shot or punctured, the suit, it automatically activates. AI comes online, and the probe runs down the tube that's been broken because it's depressurized, right? It can tell by the pressure, and it blocks it up, and then it fills the pressure cuff. It goes right inside of you, and it pressurizes. And then the the I should pull up the picture and just show you. But the probe has multiple cuffs on it, so that it extends, and then you can create a pressurized environment, and then it extends, and that's how all of my kidney stones were removed. But a wounded soldier on the battlefield can be repressurized, and the the doctor, which in this case would be AI, can go in. It cleans the environment, and it sews up the wound, and it closes everything, and the soldier can go right back into action. In the future, that's the way things are. And that technology is 500 years ahead of its time even today, and it was invented back in 1995. And I'm kind of surprised that nobody has stolen it, but I think it's kind of like, so I received that information through a near-death experience. It's God's stuff, and I think that it's like God's wisdom. I think people look at it and they don't see it, type of thing, for some reason. Precious technology. Here it is, right here. U.S. message board. I was talking about it so much. I said, "Come on, just go and show them." This is a suitcase right here. See the multiple cuffs? This is just on the pressure sheath. This is tripod. It opens up. Tripod snaps into place. This thing has these cylinders on it. It can be directed in any direction. And then on the end of it is this probe. This is a simple probe. Some of the probes, see, that has its own cuff. Some of them have 5 cuffs. You send them into the body, and then this one extends out. So this could go right into the urethra, for example. You pressurize your entire bladder. You pressurize it, but you're also wearing a pressure jacket. See, this jacket has different zones in it. See these tubes? Yep. So The probe goes right down those tubes and then fills the hole. See, this is the bladder. Can you see it? This is where you create the pressurized environment. This is the exterior jacket that allows you to create the CPE, the controlled pressurized environment. Then, you know, the biggest problem that urologists have in working inside the bladder is locating the ureter opening. The ureter opening is teeny. It's the diameter of a human hair. And whenever you're looking with through a scope, you can hardly find the thing. Many operations, whenever they want to go inside, they can't find the ureter and they can't do it. You know why? Because they're ignorant. Because I developed a method to find the ureter every time. It's simple. You go in, you create a pressurized environment. You use saline solution, you fill. Then you fill the bladder with dye, contrast medium, and you pressurize. Whenever you tighten the pressure. When you tighten the pressure, the fluid goes up the ureters. This ureter is the size of a hair until you dilate it, and then it goes to the size of your index finger. So this is all filled with blue dye. Then you stop the pressure. You switch out the fluid in the bladder. It becomes clear. Then you reduce the pressure. When you reduce the pressure, the fluid starts coming back into the bladder, and then you have, it looks like fire hoses. You have a flow of blue coming out, and oftentimes what you find is that the person has more than 2 ureters. Some people have 4 ureters, 2, 3, or 4. So with using my system, then all you have to do is you take your probe. Once you identify, you see where the fluid's coming out, and you just take your probe and you use a water jet, and you just put it right into it. The water jet dilates it, and you just stick your probe right in. It's that simple. You dilate here, then you can decompress here, and then you create a CPE up here into the kidney. And you have a stone up here, you can go up there and crunch it and vacuum it all out. Clean the entire system, retract, done. And you can do it by remote control. The reason that people have lived with kidney stones since the mid 1990s is because my system, well, if I would have kept doing it, they would have killed me by now. If I would have kept going down the path that I was going to bring this to market. I was sitting in front of my attorney in Minnesota, and he said, you're going to get at least 4 or 5 patents out of this. If I just give them the $2,000 that they needed, I had to keep paying them. And I declined. He could not believe it. He said, you're going to have at least 4 or 5 patents out of this just from this phase. Because we can take this further. And I declined because I knew what was going to happen, the medical lobby. And so nobody has stolen. This is online right here. No, you'd think somebody'd steal my idea, right? Nobody has. This Big Bang Theory, the Big Bang Theory of creation is a myth. That takes you back over to, I used to write on scripture and on politics, on medical devices, on all kinds of things. So you can see it's my idea, March 2009. But by this time that this was written, then this was already about 15 years old. This technology was 15 years old by then. And you notice I got banned. I got banned from ChristianForums.com too. I got banned from AE911truth.org. Richard Gage and Bill Donnelly banned me too. And Loose Change Brats, Dylan Avery and those guys banned me too. That's the common theme for me. Is I'm the nicest guy in the whole wide world, never swear once, and I get banned anyway because the topics that I share, I guess, they're just too controversial. Everywhere you go, there are operatives, assets, and dupes. They're intelligence, counterintelligence, manipulating narratives back and forth, and I'm the guy that gets in the way. I'm exposing them if they don't like it. And then eventually I got to go. They have to make me go. Screwworms. This is a big deal. It's happening in Texas. It's happening in a lot of places. They're just aware of it in Texas. And just stay tuned to the screwworm deal. It's if you when you listen to this, you're going to realize that these flies, they lay eggs, and they lay up to thousands and thousands and tens of thousands of these eggs. These animals that are out there are being found dead from the screwworms. Just a pinhole is all it takes. Anything that bleeds, not just people, not just cows, not just pigs, anything that bleeds, it just needs a way in. And when it goes in, one of those little flies can lay, I think he said that was a big giant number of eggs. And then they make the wound bigger, and then more flies come. There's animals that are out there suffering right now, and it's just going to get worse. This is one of the stray cats. So I checked out 26 minutes of this. I had too much of the war, too much of this, too much of that, too much hearing lies from everybody. So I was curious, why are the stray cats and the rats disappearing from the landfills? The coyotes, you cannot rid. You, you can. They're like a fungus, kind of. You cannot kill fungus. You can attack it and you can push it back, but you cannot eliminate it completely. Coyotes, you cannot eliminate them completely. It's impossible. They are going to spread, and then all of a sudden, instead of having 2 young, they're going to have 3 young, 4 young, 5 young. They're going to scatter. And by the time you're done spending millions of dollars, there are going to be more coyotes than when you started. I found that pretty amazing. Now, this is the guy right here, the John Head Smasher Daniel, 90K. He's got this thumbnail chick or something. It's a thumbnail lady. With improve RV air conditioner cooling, reduce power use, tweaks. So it's a guy. I was checking out one of his videos. It's a guy, but I think he's got a thumbnail girl or something like that. I can't tell you a lot because I only checked out that one video. But here's the link, and I did subscribe to it. Exiled Iranian Crown Prince slams. Yep. Now these are the top featured articles where I got the top featured threats for this newsletter for this Wednesday. Literally reported Jeffrey Epstein, so that's supposed to impress me. It doesn't. This is the song that I was going to have you listen to. Listen to that while you're reading about how you're not allowed to hunt anymore, you're not allowed to fish anymore or farm anymore in Oregon. Listen to this and then read that article and make it make sense. Because it doesn't. It does not make sense. White House allows Russian oil sanctions. Oh, thank you, White House. You're allowing Russians to sell oil. Imagine that. 2 BRICS nations, India and Russia. They share a border. And the United States is going to tell India that you can't buy oil from Russia. That sounds like the subject of a fantasy novel. Scientists concerned, gene editing. These are the things that we know about. You know, in some lab somewhere, some billionaire, probably Google, they're off the chain. You know they are doing stuff that they're not supposed to be doing because they're the devil's children. AI threat right at the doorstep. This is people around the world to see a winner on AI, and it's not the U.S. Some of them, the United States still has them duped, like Vietnam, India, Japan, but then down here, Germany, South Africa, they're going, hey, no way. UK, they don't think the Americans are the ones that have it. They think China's leading. South Africa, they're the most awake of all, it looks like. Don, you're probably in that group. I know China's way ahead. But China and the Americans are working for the global banksters, so it really doesn't matter. This is where I should have put that video right behind this one. Criminalize hunting, fishing, and farming. Criminalize. Motor oil supply. I'm warning you guys about the motor oil. I've been warning you. Looks like it's going to be the reality. I did refresh these, by the way. Silver alert. The only reason silver rises and falls is computer price manipulation. Yeah, but it's not a bad thing. So I have the opposite view of a lot of silver market analysts. It gets pushed down. That's good. They manipulate it down to $20. That's great because you're, at least me, I'm in holding pattern now. I'm not selling any. Buy the dips and hold. Silver should be way more. The dollar is devaluing every minute that we breathe. Dollar is being devalued. And silver being pushed down at the same time. That means that Andy Scheckman is sending you extremely valuable silver for more and more worthless dollars. And because the prices are tied to the COMEX, Andy is forced to sell you silver at the reduced price. You're getting a bargain because the dollars that you're sending him aren't worth anything. They're trash. Holy poop, Batman. The dollar is about to send gold skyrocketing higher. Yeah, that's what everybody keeps saying. Eventually it's going to happen. When it does, it's going to shock everybody. China confirms the rumors. The aftermath of the Iran war, its impact on the dollar. Wake up, brother. He thinks this is the aftermath of the war. A lot of people believe that, I suppose. And you're running along with the herd. Usually you're not like that. What's this? Warsh could shock markets. Forever inflation. The If you're unaware, inflation is cumulative. If Trump got inflation down to 3%, it's not going down to 3% again. But even if you got it down to 3%, that's on top of Biden's inflation. It's not going -3. It's still +3, +3, +3, +3. And now it's, in reality, it's just rubbing my fingers together and going back a decade, it's 11% per year on the things that we really need. Dollar's replacement being launched closer than you think. That, I would surmise, is the BRICS, the BRICS coin, whatever they're going to call it. Despite slumping sentiment, U.S. retail sales see strongest annual rise. It looks that way because of inflation. That's how they can razzle dazzle us. People are spending more. They're spending more. Yeah, because it costs more. You been to the grocery store lately? People are spending more, and they're taking those numbers as inflated numbers, and they're making it. They're using it as lipstick on the pig to make it look like the economy's good when it's not. Soon it's going to be a million. You're going to see a million Americans living in their cars because it's over 900,000 now. That's the official number. It's obviously a lot higher than that. Banks more powerful than governments. The global banks cartel is by far more powerful than all the governments. They decide who's going to be running those governments. The central bank digital currency warning: refuse a messenger RNA shot, they flip the switch and erase your bank account. That's why we are preparing. That's why you have silver, not to sell back to them for worthless dollars, to barter with whenever they force you to take their shot or be taken off. They're going to shut down your central bank digital currency. So when it comes, you have to decide if you're going to have a CBDC account or not. So I can't say yes or no yet. How much of my soul do I have to give you in order to have it? But my goal is to be able to barter for what I need with my neighbors using silver and to have the rest of the things that I need. That's the plan. We'll see how that goes. Green, so the people aren't believing the lie so much, but that's because the price was pushed down so much. It's still in the 70s. People are delusional. Take advantage of the opportunity. I don't own any stock or anything. If If I had lots of dollars, if you have lots of dollars, you would buy this because this is going to be 170. Not that long. I'm not buying any stock myself. Let's see. Oh, what happened? Something happened by the end of the day. This was higher. Something happened just before the close. I don't know what that is to go down 500 because it was up early. So what happened to the metals? Pushed way down. 67. Buy, buy, buy if you have the resources. If you're like a lot of us, then you have less and less business, less and less business, less and less business, and less resources. So that you have to decide what you're going to spend it on. And you're not buying any silver. But 67, they're going to keep pushing it. They might push it down to 20. If they did that, maybe 10%. That seems to be where it's manipulated to right now. And everything's taken a big dip. The commodities have just taken a big dip at the end of the day. And gold more than silver, so it spiked up to 63 to 1. Get your spreadsheet. Click on this link right here. This is the guy right here. If you don't know who to trust about getting silver, these are the people that I trust anyway. 952-213-8930. 89, yeah, 8930. That's Andy Scheckman at Miles Franklin, and this is my guy right here, Justin. Tell him Terrell Croft sent you. That's the for this week. That's the sheet. Oh, we're going to click on the link. So guess how many subscribers I have on the new Black Star report update. It was 41 yesterday. Take a guess how many? 41 subscribers. Yep. I must be God's hidden wisdom. I'm hiding right in plain sight. That's kind of funny. The 6.1 Cuba Quake. This is the Substack post. I wonder if I change this link to the YouTube link. Maybe I should do that. Maybe somebody will. That'd probably be a smart move. I think I need to write myself a note to remember to do that. Biological weapon activation day. I think most people don't believe me when I tell them it's coming. Let's just get by that. You're being duped. I think most people don't believe me. But you can believe me that you have your order in by 8 a.m. Central Time on Friday, that your order will be shipped for sure by 8 a.m. Central Time here in the Ozarks. And you'll get your tracking number, you get your notification right away as soon as I get it. And then you get your, by the end of the day on Friday, it's usually Friday afternoon, you get your UPS priority mail tracking number, and then deliveries Monday and Tuesday. You get with your notification, my book attached, the 9/11 book and the Mystery Explained book, Seeing God's Wisdom Hidden in Plain Sight. When you subscribe at Substack, then you get it attached to your notification email. And EMP Shield, I do believe there's a Father's Day special going right now. The let me see if this is a cached. Nope. Vehicle protection, home protection, protect your solar panels. I want my solar panels just about as close together as these. I have that gap in there. I'm going to try to get more power. The sun, nothing to look at, nothing to see here, guys. The sun is almost blank. Experts warn San Andreas Fault has reached its highest stress level in 1,000 years. If you're hanging out by the San Andreas, then God bless you. Then Stefan, America's Fault Lines, they're ready to go, and he hasn't made a video. Let me see if we go to the video section over here. Nope. And Silky, she's been pretty busy. They're not prepared for this. Did you check this one out? I checked it out. She's showing the shaking and the quaking happened in the Philippines during that earthquake, and she's going, man, this ain't right. This is really shaking. And The ground was changing elevation on each side of the break, and she was amazed. She's seen a lot of earthquake videos, and she showed that one. She made another one, and it because she had more stuff come in. She was just amazed by it. Will Lebanon become the next Gaza? Lebanon is the next. Well, it's not 100% obliterated like parts of Gaza. But the thing I'm noticing is that we're not seeing the images, but every now and then, but much of Israel's looking like it too. That place is being bombed. The Iranians and Hezbollah is trying to stop it. Give on Gavin Newsom, this guy here. What a joke. Goes nuclear after reports of DOJ investigations, whistleblowers, record demands tied to his inner circle. I don't think he has a thing to worry about. Just like Hillary and Obama and the rest of Mike, Barry, and all of them. One big happy family. He's in the files. You know he is. Trump is. You know they are. Hillary, Barry, Mike, they're the protected class. But they have to show you this stuff. So you think that it's like championship wrestling. It's fake. It's all fake. But they can't just come out and tell you that. So they hit each other and they go back and forth, body slamming, and you get your popcorn and you think it's real, and it's not. Until they get to the judgment, until they realize they're in the lake of fire, they're skating, man. Bombshell, red pills, Joe Rogan, exposing Pizzagate. Yeah, it's all coming to the surface now. It's uh, it's all a show. They're going to talk about it and talk about it and talk about it. The 9/11 inside job, they're going to talk about it, talk about it, talk about it. Nobody's going to be held accountable. Look, Cheney's already dead, and he wasn't brought to justice. There's no 9/11 justice here. Where we're going, there's going to be plenty of it. So just be patient. Thwarted. UFC drone plot underscores warfare literally has come to our streets. So this, to me, looks like another self-inflicted wound that's going to heal itself with Trump, in Butler and down the golf course in Florida, and it's showing the need to have more security. Oh, look, we need a police state, man. We need to have drones. We need to have our own drones and police state because if president's not secure, nobody's secure. That's the narrative it looks like to me to prove that you need to be under 100% surveillance for your own protection. China revives heavy naval firepower with new 1.155 millimeter gun that could support an attack on Taiwan. They never get tired of that narrative. And for me, there's no reality in it. That's wargaming. Yeah, they're going to wargame. They're not going to attack Taiwan. I'll be shocked if bombs start flying in Taiwan because China's going to take Taiwan without firing a shot. If you want to know what's wrong with America, just look at New York City, look at LA, look at Chicago, look at Portland, or you can just look at New York City. Shootings plague Mexico's Caribbean resort area. Bars, hotels targeted. Lawlessness is increasing, guys. It's going to keep getting worse and worse and worse and worse. The cartels are billionaires. They have billions and billions. They have warehouses full of $100 bills. They don't even know where to spend it. And they're in bed with the CIA and everybody. What do you expect? Lawlessness. So the CIA sits down and says, well, the Council on Foreign Relations, the banks are saying, how are we going to have more lawlessness? CIA says, well, let's talk to the cartels, see what they say. And here we go. Elon Musk calls for Nuremberg-style trials after UK rape gang inquiry. If they say there's 250,000 young British girls raped, it's way more than that, and it's not just British girls. It's way more than that. Muslim men raping, pillaging with full autonomy. The police have to be in on it. They have to be. This is what's happening. So in the Old Testament, they called this your children being exposed. Our children are exposed. Our people are exposed. Our women are exposed. It's not just there in the UK. It's happening right here in the United States. It's been happening. It's not going to stop. Biggest scandal in modern British history. Reacts to rape gang inquiry. Oh, they're having an inquiry. Well, that's going to be solved any time now, right? Wrong. It's happening right under everybody's noses. Warning to America. See, the lawlessness gets out of hand to the point then, oh, we have to have the police state. That's what's happening with the gurgling, the bubbling, the undercurrent right now. They're leading us, the whole population is going to say out loud in one single voice, we need a police state to keep ourselves safe. We need peace and safety. That's what's everything's boiling up to right now. Warning to America, Canada is becoming Muslim Brotherhood's North American headquarters. That would be Minnesota, I would speculate. I don't think it's in Canada. It's Texas. It's growing. They don't have a navy. They don't need a navy. They're invading the United States. They're invading Europe, the EU, Ireland, UK, and they're taking over. And those that are in power are helping them. They're helping mask their activities. Western civilization. Oh, the UN demands Western countries accept 2.4 million more refugees. We want you to have more. We need more destruction. UN. Destroying Western civilization, the United Nations. Ask Michael Yon, Darien Gap, and their UN headquarters. It's down there. It's still working under Trump. It's right there. Just the difference in the catch and bus program is that it's catch and plane program, and they're using the visa program. So out of the 32,000 foreign nationals that enter the United States every single day, more and more of them just overstay their visas. Keep their nose clean. They're not on the worst of the worst list, and they do what they want. You think Holman's going to go do something about it? Nope. Nobody's going to be looking for him. You think Rubio's going to go look up the people that overstayed their visa? No, he's going to keep issuing visas, 32,000 every day, no matter what. So the cartels have figured out with the CIA and the Council on Foreign Relations working groups how to get their people into the different visas. And they just fly into the airports and into the bus stations, come across the border, they show their visa, and they're good to go. Thank you very much. Welcome to America. That means more and more people using up more and more of the resources. Less for you and me. Sweden passes law to revoke residence permits from illegal aliens who fail good behavior test. So this is going to be the low-hanging fruit thing. Who are we going to go get that's not following the rules? It's so the bad guys that they want to stay in the country and rape their women, they're going to be just fine. Likely the ones that aren't working according to their narrative, they're the ones that are going to have to leave. But they have to do something to make it look like, I'm standing on the wall. I'm looking out into Mexico looking for the illegals. That's our Border Patrol. Yeah, 40 million of them are behind you working. Thank you very much. We're on the verge of ethnic replacement. Students punished and forced to write re-education essay for unfurling Italy for Italians banner. Speak out. This is just a snapshot of what's going on throughout the EU, Ireland, UK, Canada, and right here inside the United States. That's that some of the nations, countries are ahead of the others in implementing. It's the destruction of the United States, destruction of Western civilization, I should say, which includes the U.S. Send them back. MEPs celebrate after Europe Parliament approves tougher illegal alien return rules. See the common thread there, the common narrative to make it look like they're doing something. So they're just going to kick the door open wider to let them more in. Oh yeah, we're going to get rid of these, and then they're going to show it on the news every night. Yeah, we're getting rid of this one and this one and this one. Look, it got their faces up there and everything. Meanwhile, more and more illegals are coming through the back door that the people never see. And then these guys get reelected. Yep, keep electing the same fools and wonder why the problem's getting worse. Florida sues TikTok over age verification failures. Digital ID mandate takes effect because digital ID is a great thing, right? Florida suing TikTok is a great thing, right? This is part of the prison state. This is normalizing the digital ID mandate and the process. So that before you can go to this website, you have to show them your actual face. That's what to prove your age. So the nanny state and the nanny state rules to protect the children turns the whole nation into a prison state. And I'm showing you the headlines, giving you a little bit of commentary. It's happening right in front of our eyes. The broad new powers hiding inside Poland's child safety bills. This is the common thread. The children, the children. We're going to protect the children. No, you're creating a police state. You're going to imprison everybody. Massive explosions in Moscow. Putin's getting sick and tired of it. The generals are getting sick and tired of it. The logistics, telemetry, the bombs, missiles, the drones provided by the EU and the US. Ukraine couldn't do this by themselves. Putin knows it. At some point, the lid's going to blow off of that. You're not even seeing it. Everything's Iran and the deal, Iran the deal, Iran the deal, Iran the deal. That's masking everything else that's happening. World War III, it's already started, and it's growing. It's bulging. It's going to pop. We just aren't there yet. U.S. defeat in Iran. That's what's already happened. Trump's giving orders. Oh, you could sanction this. He's directing traffic like he has power and authority. He doesn't have anything. The end of the U.S. empire. This is more reality. Right here. This guy right here. I like him. The people that good. The NATO expansionism, war in the narrative trap. They're destroying the West. That's their goal, their objective. That's what they're doing. Iran still holds the economy in hostage. That's what's happened. Refresh this since I started this video, though. Absolute fact. This is where I go to in the evening to get live, to the minute, updated information. It says live, and Mario reads what's coming across from his producers live, and then whoever he has on is giving him the commentary. He has a nice wide spectrum of. He's got Larry on there with his cigar, and the different colonels that he has on there. Karen Colonel and Anthony Colonel, rest of them. A good mix of people. I think Mario is like the perfect guy. Doesn't know too much, and he's naive enough to always ask those questions that are to the point. I think he's really good at it. And then the ugly truth, why we need to end the war. Yeah, being a little bit of Captain Obvious on that. Let's see if it ends. Pepe Escobar is maybe my favorite. When you get a chance to see him, he's going to stop and correct Nima. He said, "Whoa, whoa, whoa! Wait a minute." And Pepe and Larry Johnson, they are privy to information right now. They're privy to information that they're not supposed to be revealing, and they're tempted to, and they're not, from the Pakistan people. Their sources that are in there. So be looking for that. Sometimes they trip up a little bit and just give you just a little bit more information. Pepe Escobar. Here he is again, right here. How I value his opinions on everything. This is when I say Lieutenant Colonel Karen, that's her right there. That's her. Really, really good. She has a little softer touch on the different topics. And I think having a lady's perspective on things, men, conquerors, destroyers, they're like bulls in a china shop kind of thing. The ladies, more nurturing, but they could both be lieutenant colonels. But the ladies, Karen particularly, she has a softer touch on explaining things. She's going to go around the corner, give you more peripheral information. I really, really like her a lot. You notice you're not seeing Scott Ritter's face very much. You're not seeing him. Scott Ritter's on the opposite end of the spectrum from Karen. although I value Scott Ritter as much as anybody, as much as Pepe. He is rough around the edges and just tells it like he's the bull in the china shop type of guy. And a lot of the commentators, I think they get complaints about Scott Ritter. But he has a lot of inside information, particularly from the Russian perspective, Ukraine perspective, that a lot of people just don't have. So I like to hear from him every chance I get. Then the judge, same people he's interviewing, but questions from a different perspective. And Yak didn't do anything today, last I checked. Losing the right to repair your car, draconianism, particularly. Um, this is coming to America. Everybody sees what's coming. Every sweetheart, not being condescending. You're a nice, nice, nice lady. I really like you. I check her out almost every day. But everybody doesn't see what's coming, not by a long shot. A lot of people are going to be broadsided. People are getting angry about what's happening to their food. Yeah. Oh, I heard yesterday about bone-in chicken. So when you eat your wings, do you eat bone-in chicken? I highly recommend you eat bone-in meat. The steak with the bone in it, the bone-in chicken. So I'm not buying ever a chicken breast, like a pack of chicken. I'm never ever buying that one of those again in this lifetime. Give me the chicken, the whole chicken, a rotisserie chicken with the breast and the legs and the bones and everything, because that's not manufactured. If it's in a package and it don't have a bone in it, you don't know. No matter what they put on the package. Storing gear, I shared this with you yesterday. So if you go to Thailand or something, I think that's Pepe was talking about it. It was one of them. And how people are eating bone in. And then whoever was asking the question, I've seen so many of them, they're kind of running together. And then that was the explanation, because there's so much manufactured meat that's out there. At some point, there's going to be more manufactured meat in the world than there is real meat. That's a fact. Like in, I think Blade Runner, I think that's the way it was back then. A real animal was something that's like, there's synthetic animals, even real live walking around animals that were synthetic. And a real one was like, you had to be a billionaire to even afford to have a real bird or a real anything. We're coming to that. This is worse than 2008. America's housing market is frozen. It gets like that because, I used to be a licensed real estate. My dad was a broker. I was licensed I was in his office and his general contracting. I designed buildings, built buildings, commercial buildings. And so I can have a little bit of experience on this kind of a thing. And I can tell you what happens when the interest rates go up and they stay high. Then people that are out there have a 2 or 3% mortgage. They outgrow their house. They can't sell it unless they can take their mortgage with them, which they can't unless it's written in the fine print. So they have to sell. When they sell, if the mortgage is transferable, then they can, the FHA, VA, then it's assumable. That could be part of the deal. Somebody, they get to assume your 2 or 3% mortgage, then they can afford to pay you more cash. You can use it as a strategy in making a deal. Being a real estate agent, you have to be able to use all these strategies to make deals work. But what happens is, whenever the interest rates go up from 2% to 7%, then people get stuck in their house. They can't sell. Not only that, people can't refinance. So as long as the interest rates are 2% or 0% like they were, the prime lending rate, then you have real low percentages, then you have enough inflation so your house grows in enough value so that you can refinance every couple of years because the interest rates are low. People are doing that every couple of years. They would even have a credit card debt and they let the debt go up on their cards, but then they refinance it and put it all under a refinance for their house and then start over again. Lots of people have been doing that and now they can't. Millions and millions of people are stuck because the interest rates are staying high. And guess what? Don't be surprised if they go up again. Okay, I had to close some windows. 23 caught planning attack on U.S. Expect to see more of these narratives and more of these headlines out there. The need for a police state is going to continue as the prison state infrastructure, the data centers, they already have the detention centers built. They have hundreds and hundreds of FEMA camps. They're all fully operational right now. So the stage is set for what they're about to spring on us. People are going to be so angry, they're going to be hungry, and they're going to be craziness everywhere. And they're going to have somewhere to put them. Detention centers. They have to have a way to contact trace everybody. All of that is already in place because the pandemic 2 deal is going to happen. So all that infrastructure is now in place, and now they have to bring out these attacks. You're going to see more and more of them. You're going to see more and more cyber attacks, more and more attacks. You're going to see attack in the headlines more and more and more to justify the cry from the sheeple to say, give us the police state. And they're ready. Emergency backup. Expect that the emergency backup, even GPS, is going to begin to fail. You're going to be trying to go somewhere and you're going to be pushing in your GPS and it's just not going to work. So as a backup, make sure you have your maps. Say, I don't need a map. I got GPS. You keep thinking that. You best get your maps. If you're thinking about going anywhere, if you're not thinking, if you're going to, just sit in the house, you don't need it. But if you're good, think you're going to actually go somewhere, you're not going to have GPS. It's going to be shut down. Get your maps. Look at them ahead of time. Don't be in an emergency situation. You say, oh, I got to get to there. How do I do that? No. What's going to happen if the peanut butter hits the fan and you got to leave your house? Where are you going to go? Get out the map. Don't have one? Get a map. Draw a line on it. This is what we're going to do. We don't want to take this road. Don't want to take the highway. We got to go this way or that way. That's threat assessment and contingency planning for the worst case scenario. Is this craziness just scriptures being fulfilled? No, it's the mystery being revealed. I shared that with you, was it yesterday and the day before? You can see my Substack posts. This is not the end of the age. There's no prophecy that's been fulfilled for 2,000 years. There's a corresponding mystery part being revealed that looks like it. Most people don't know what that means. The real cost of prepping, down to earth, nitty gritty prepping. This is your guy right here. New to prepping? I mean prepping. The real cost of prepping. Focusing on your prepping. He's not being sidetracked by the deal, is he? They don't trust the United States. If you don't hold it, you don't own it. How many times I said that? You got paper and plastic, like from the grocery store, the old days. You're going through the line, paper or plastic. Now you have paper currency and you have plastic to spend it. And if you have paper and plastic, if that's what you're depending on, you're listening to the wrong guy. You're in big trouble. If you can't hold it, you don't own it. You say, well, I can hold my card. Yeah, but it's not going to work. And then the money that's in the bank, it's going to be worth less. Not just worth less than it was today, worth nothing. What are you going to do then? You're going to wish you had silver. Because even if you go into the central bank digital currency, you're going to want to do it with silver. Take a chunk of your silver and then put it into that currency because they're going to be giving you a lot for each silver chunk that you got. This was from yesterday. WTF? You got wrecked. I still haven't seen that one to know what that means. It's 3 secret moves. The master. He's still on the 3 secret moves from 3 days ago. He's going to show you what's going on. He's going to make it so that your reaction is an action. You see certain things. Your body responds if you train it. The grid is being hijacked. AI data centers could trigger a national security crisis. Amen, brother. More than people realize. 6 CIA survival tricks. So I did take some notes on this. Oh, here they are. So be sure to check it out for yourself. A lot of times in a survival situation, people move without thinking. That's probably one of the most common mistakes. Situational awareness is the number one rule of survival. Situational awareness. Well, you don't know your situation until you stop and take a good look around. People walk right past opportunities and don't know it, and then they walk right into threats because they're not looking at where they're going. If you're walking and thinking, if you're inflecting while you're maneuvering, you're going to die. That's absent-minded professor type of stuff. So deciding ahead of time what your plan is and executing that plan, extremely important. But then thinking, stopping and thinking. Number one thing, stop, stop moving and look is the way that they characterize it. Know the stars. I mean, that's my characterization. Know the stars. Stop moving and actually look. See, when you're in the woods, then you have to know what the stars are. When I was a smoker, I knew more about my situation and stars and stuff because I was outside more. I was more social then too. I just have to say, because nobody should ever smoke inside. I mean, even if whenever I was a smoker. So when you're outside smoking at the party or whatever it is, at the restaurant or whatever, that's when you run into the other smokers and you're more social. Well, I quit smoking. But knowing where the stars are, know the Big Dipper, Little Dipper, the little dot on the end of the bucket of the Little Dipper is Polaris. Doesn't move. North Star. And then you can know where north is. And it talks about Orion, the belt of Orion. So stop, and then you know where you are. The next thing is plan during the day, rest during the day, travel at night. Mad Max is going to be out there during the day. He can see you for miles, depending on the terrain, right? So developing your night vision, seeing well in the dark is to your advantage. And to move around at night. Whenever there are threats are everywhere, moving around the daytime is not something you want to do. And when it's really hot out, that's not something that you want to do. Your body dehydrates very quickly. Water is life. Water is life. Water is life. That's not mentioned here, but you're going to be able to move as much as you can carry water. So you say, I'm not drinking any water out of a plastic jug. Oh, yes, you will. A 1 gallon jug can get you a long ways. No water is you're only going to be able to go so far. Night travel, black sheep theory. Okay, identifying the threat within your group. You're going to have them likely. If you have any number of people, you're going to have somebody that eats too much, that's too loud, that ghosts your position. That you're going to have a person like that, and you have to get him out of your group. Sadly, but true. If you don't, everybody's going to die. Identifying who that person is and getting him out of the group early on is one of the most important things that your leader has to do. Strong leadership means he looks at your group and says, okay, you got to go and you got to go and you got to go. And they're going, what? And the other people are going, what are you talking about? A strong leader can tell pretty fast who can and who cannot survive in the situation. Hygiene as a survival tactic. So ensnaring, fish hooks, fish line, and there's a manual that's out there. So you know where it is, askapepper.com. This report's getting too long. I don't want to give you my best possible. And that's all I can think of. Get your nanosilver. You can get it right here. You say, well, I don't have a PayPal account. Don't need one. Click the link or click Stripe. Doesn't matter. You click the Stripe button. You don't have to have a Stripe account. We have Google Pay, whatever you got. You just log in as a guest and you can use there's like 30 different options. And you don't have to have a Stripe account. But you're going to benefit from the Stripe program and PayPal. You're going to be covered, insured, and I pay for it being a guest, as a guest. Or go to right here, click on this link right here, and it takes you to the how-to page. And you can see when you have to have your order in, and you can see this is what you get. These bottles, it's got the label on it, and it has the instructions right on the label. And if you're not a subscriber, click here. You can use PayPal. If you are a subscriber, you get a discount. I pay for your shipping. That is, it's almost doubled since I got here. And I haven't looked to see if I'm making money still. My prices are all going up, I'm using bottles that were purchased some time ago. I haven't had to restock yet. I haven't had to buy any new silver nitrate. So I'm the shipping keeps going up. It's almost doubled since I got here, but I'm just going to keep eating it and helping as many people as possible. The Lord God brings us home until I just can't do it anymore. And so take advantage of the special one. That's the first sign is whenever the special goes away, it means I can't do it anymore. And that's it. That's all I can think to share with you guys. Appreciate your support very, very much. Get more information right at terrell03.com. I'll see you on the next Black Star Update report.